New best of 3 TVP, because this guy in the top right plays Protoss when he faces Terran. It's Clem. And the bottom left, it is Byun, who stays true to the Terran race. No betrayals. I have had a neck strain for like 5 days now. The good news is, for those who actually follow the stream and knows that I fell on my butt during dodgeball, my leg is fine. Well, that was a little concerning when I did it, because it kind of made my leg feel weird, like not just pain, but like my nerve had been struck. It's all right. It's all good. But apparently, maybe it did strike a nerve, and because the human body is connected, it also just like it went down from there up to here. I don't know. Stuff. Science. I have a neck strain. And it kind of goes away during the day when I'm like stretching and moving and doing stuff, and then it just comes back in full force at night. And some will say, well, that's what happens when you get older. And they could be right. But then again, I've had neck issues for a very long time. So little this, little that, you know. The grumble, grumble, grumbles. To start off this beginning TVP. Clem Byun, it's gone very one-sided at times in the past. There's also been some super epic games from these two in the past. It was like a month ago, I think, that I cast this like best of 5 between them that was very, very good. But then I feel like they played again since then, and there was a 0-2 or a 0-3 or something where Clem looked way better. Just gonna look it up since we don't have anything. Well, again, he's going for a Marauder opener, but that's not gonna result in anything yet. Marauder opener with a high ground command center, maybe a little wary of some early aggression. Wants to catch Clem being hyper aggressive with the Adepts. Something that, you know, Mono was doing to Byun, actually on this map as well, that worked better on Tourmaline. Yeah, most recently it was a 1-3. Last month. Oh, wow. They actually haven't played in a month. So it was more than a month ago that I even cast that best of 5 I was talking about. The early Adept is going to get caught. No way for it to know that there was a Marauder opener. The probe left before the tech lab was added. Them's the breaks. There's not much you can do about it. Quick third command center, though. Okay, that's obviously a big deal. So a high ground command center, but instead of going into more production, as one typically would, 2-base setup, by far the most common in TVP, we have Byun sneak a third CC on location. The Adept was unlikely to scout that, even if it had survived. There's not a lot of reasons for the Protoss player to be checking that third base this early. They'd rather be threatening, entering into the main and forcing the supply depot to raise. But still, combined with the Adept for sure being dead thanks to the Marauder opener, there is very little to even possibly scout. So Clem's not going to know about this for some time. I mean, the Stalker's going to move out, but they're not going to scout the third again. The Observer might be made and go directly across, but it's going to head to the main natural part of the map. There's actually like a very high chance, and not only does the third CC finish, but it also mines a decent amount. Now, this has happened before, not exactly with this opener. It looks very odd seeing the third CC building as like the natural was still not in place, but we've had similar builds from Byun, quick 3CC, third CC on location as well. And I want to say that even though every time that I can remember in the last 6 months or something, it hasn't been scouted quickly, the success rate on this build still is probably like 50-50. Because I can think of like 3 times where I've seen him do the fast third on location. And again, it doesn't get scouted any of those times that I'm thinking of. But push eventually comes, just the nature of TVP. Clem eventually will push into Byun at some point. And then it still doesn't quite seem to have worked out, even though it technically had time to actually mine and build triple SCV and get all its production up and running. It should give Byun a much heavier mid-game than expected for the Protoss. Sometimes it still doesn't work out, and that's just so funny about it. It's one of those builds where if you don't scout it, you should absolutely be in trouble, but then every so often, it just doesn't look like you got a fast third CC. Best way I could put it. That is a very important pylon, and that is now dead. Clem noticed at the last second, tried to recharge it, the shield battery, but still loses it. That's Robo out, Gateway out, shield battery out, and he definitely needs a shield battery, but that is one stim used. Another stim's going to injure the Marauders again, and there might just be enough Stalkers to win out this battle. Not without tremendous losses. We had Byun focus fire down the weakened Stalkers. Did not let himself get out-microed in that situation. So we had 5 Stalkers dead, but 8 Marauders and 9 Marines. So actually, even though Byun definitely focus fired, and Clem definitely didn't have a shield battery on his side, that actually still ended up going surprisingly well. That lack of shield battery was a big concern, but Clem fortunately had warped in as many Stalkers as was necessary, anticipating some type of attack of that nature with the Marauder opener, and not doing a greedy build or not segmenting his Stalkers in different locations. There'd be no reason to, you know? I mean, it's possible they followed this up with like a 2-1-1, I guess, but much more likely a frontal attack was on the way, so you didn't have 3 Stalkers in the main and a Stalker checking the third, which then would have possibly led to a much bigger disaster. Clem is still behind because there is a third CC, totally unbeknownst to him. He has no idea. That looks like the third CC. Then this is a game that just 100% should be Byun's. Even though that attack wasn't as promising as it looked once he depowered the shield battery, he still ended up losing out more in the resources. Although a couple observers have died since then, and another Stalker, I think. Was it 5 to begin with? Anyway. It's still third CC. Totally saturated. Gas is now coming up on it. Affording all the production already. We're at 5 barracks. War Prism in the main is not going to die, but being severely injured reduces its chances of working out in the future. Not just going to be the War Prism attack, though. Attack on the front. Command Center going to be canceled. The very last second. It looks like a beautiful cancel, except that was the 4th, so this isn't it. This is not quite enough damage. Clem running in with quite the Gateway army, killing those SCVs, killing the Marauders. Great force field right there. The main base still being cleaned up. War Prism still intact, and Clem is finding a lot of damage right now, even more to be found in the main. The production is being somewhat camped. Widowmine does target down the Warp Prism. That is a goner. Command Center apparently was a target potentially. Is going to be saved. Mass repair on it. Stalkers out going down to the remnants of the army in the main. And this is going to be quite the battle. But at the end of the day, there's one person with 3 CC still intact. Clem might have 3 Nexus, but he really would need to be on a 4th Nexus, plus gases, plus technology, to continue on into the mid to late game. Only now does he realize the situation. That is an awfully saturated third base with some minerals already mined out. So that is not a good sign. This would be a very difficult game to call if Byun did not have that third CC. If that was legitimately 2 bases, the third was canceled, 29 SCVs were killed, Byun has a chance to win just because his bio army is still pretty damn good, right? Clem doesn't have any AoE. This is a very low gas, heavy gateway style of an attack. Not quite an all-in, but very dedicated. And that would have been the real rub. But when Byun has the army, and he has an economy still, there's a good chance he's going to survive. Clem knows it. Clem's not going to let up and allow him time to build up that critical mass of bio with a critical mass of medevac, so they're finally healing all these injured units. As soon as he does that, as soon as he lets his foot off the pedal, Byun's just going to go skyrocketing away. 2-1 also finishes for Byun as Clem does manage to eke out +2. He still is without any armor. So again, no AoE, a lot of zealots being the main component of this attack, of this army. They don't have armor. Now they're up against +2 Marines. Medevac numbers starting to get pretty high. Widowmine's being included as well. This is looking worse and worse for Clem. But he can't just go ahead and run away and hope that Byun never does anything. He has to keep up this pressure, even though it is increasingly more obvious, hey, this isn't going to work. 4th base finish for Clem, but still only 59 probes. Storm is going to have to be amazing. Relentlessly amazing. Hitting the heart of the army every single time. burning out the medevac energy. Maybe even going after storm drops, killing some of this economy. Fourth base, once again, underway for Byun. That is about halfway done. Extra barracks coming up as he anticipates being able to actually get that on location. So we'll be able to afford 8 barracks. He's getting a couple of Vikings. He doesn't quite know the follow-up. He knows it's a Robo. He doesn't know if this has gone into Colossus or into High Templars. I think now is the first time he's seen High Templars. That Storm is a pretty good one. He just actually allows the blanket a lot of it. Medevac's get injured too, but there's just not enough follow-up to the Storm to really scare Byun. So he left a lot of the army, like I said, bathe in it, but most of it survives. Medevac's still some juice, taking care of the third base Zealots. 7 SCVs have gone down. Storm maybe was looking to come in on the backside. I don't know. Needs to be on the front side at this point. That is a lot of Terran, still healthy-ish. And not a lot of bio. That Storm might buy some time, but again, is there a follow-up? Are the Zealots actually killing the units? They're actually already dead themselves. They went into Storm. They only had that +1 armor. Very few of them left over. Byun gonna take those out. Also took out the rest of the army. Those units you're supposed to be able to escape with. The High Templars, the War Prism, the Immortal, the Stalkers. They're supposed to be running away at this point, waiting for more Zealot reinforcements. They're all dead. Byun lost a large chunk of his ground army too, but he keeps the medevacs alive. He has 8 barracks of production about to be on a 4th base. He has +3 attack over halfway done. I mean, Clem is really making this a battle. He really is. But that 3rd CC, I mean, that's definitely keeping not just Byun in the game, but it's making him win this game. She's going to clear out the rubble here once he's able to defend 3rd and 4th base simultaneously. Well, not simultaneously, but around the same area. Clem does go after a 5th base. He can't stop expanding. As much as maybe your instinct could tell you to just turtle and hope to God the Terran is too afraid to attack into you, that just won't work at this level. He's got to continue expanding, and again, maybe there's a chance that Byun, when he decides he is ready to be aggressive, you know, I don't think he's going to turtle into the Liberators this game. He should know that he's got a good shot at winning in the mid to late. When he pushes across the map, maybe that 5th base buys time, and the 4 bases remain intact. Maybe he goes after this 3rd and says, that doesn't really work out, and then tries to drop the 5th, and that's actually cleared out. And then maybe Clem is able to dance around with the army that he has rebuilt, and is able to stop any of these bases from being attacked. And Clem is trying to push where there isn't an army. as soon as he meets the actual army, yeah, his army actually sucks. Even when it was closer in supply, it's kind of a lie. It's 3-2 bio versus 2-1, mostly Zealots again. That one Colossus going to get targeted down. The Ghost do get surrounded, however, so they are taken care of. A lot of them do go down very inefficiently. Still a 30 supply lead here for Byun, as he does have his 4th base in orbital, by the way. Doesn't feel the need to make that into a planetary. I think that's twofold. I think, one, again, he knows he's in a good position, and then 2, because he can kind of deflect multiple attacks in a single location, single-ish, I guess. I think he feels he can get away with this. If he defends the 4th, he defends the 3rd to a degree, as well as the natural. He's actually pushing across the map. Medevacs are low on energy. A lot of this army getting stimmed and starting to get injured, but not injured enough. There's a great Storm injuring them further, but there's just not enough Protoss army. This one Colossus is not going to kill all of this. Stalkers come in as well. Supplies within 40. That is all army in Byun's favor. Upgrades in favor too, even though Clem got 3-1. His Zealots still don't really feel all that impressive. Byun is losing SCVs while he's not quite winning the game. I mean, he's dangerously close to winning the game, but Clem is refusing to give up here. 8 SCVs do go down. Mass Mule get dropped. 3rd CC is starting to run low on minerals. That is one of the exactly drawbacks, but weird thing you wouldn't have to consider in a 15-minute game, usually. Usually that still has some minerals on it. The main has to move on, the natural has to move on, but the 3rd still is good to go. Not when you got it at minute 5. Zealot's still trying to hammer that point, but we do have Byun now looking to defend these bases. I think he kind of gave up intentionally on defending them, seeing that moment where it looked like he was going to win. Now he's actually sending reinforcements over there, cleaning these things up, not letting this snowball, not letting it get too weird. 9 probes have gone down. Byun found his aggression. was not winning the game. I mean, it basically was, as we can see. Clem does finally tap out, but it was getting him all types of map control, and that 5th base was an easy snipe. Clem, he really gave it that his all, man. I mean, he did not know about the 3rd CC. That is just a game where, at the end of the day, you lose it. You could just be like, really, I lost it by not scouting this incredible greed. And that just happens in StarCraft, you know? It's kind of the same as not scouting an incredible all-in. They're very different sides of the spectrum, but similar situation. The difference, of course, is that with the 3rd CC greed, I mean, there's at least something you do. You have an army you can try and work miracles with, and that's exactly what Clem tried to do. He attacked, he did this like low econ, very aggressive, low gas attack, and that did so much damage. But the 3rd CC completely saturated the entire time. Just made it so that, yeah, well, that was incredible damage. There needed to be so much more beyond that. And Clem really did trying to attack multiple places, trying to, you know, be courageous on his side of the map. He never cowered. But you just can't beat that fast of a 3rd CC, I guess. It's extremely difficult to, although not impossible. Top right, Clem. Bottom left, Byun. I think it was actually 2 weeks ago, the last Monday Night Weekly, which Byun did go for a 3rd CC build. Was on this map. Okay, that's kind of convenient. It was on this map, I believe. You know, and it looked like it was a slam dunk. If it wasn't Byun, then it was Cure, I don't know, some Terran. But it looked like it was amazing. Like, the 3rd CC had actually gotten a location. It was saturating. But whoever he was facing, and perhaps it was Clem, this is not an impossible... No, because they hadn't played in the last month. That's right. So it was some combination of this, right? And Clem, or the Protoss' aggression, was just good enough. It killed those 30 SCVs, plus a good amount of bio, and then it didn't stop. It attacked back into the 3rd, it attacked back into the natural, the War Prism got back into the main. And despite getting away with a fast 3rd CC, the Terran ended up having to fold. But I think if that attack doesn't work, and the Terran has gone for the 3rd CC, or doesn't actually basically win the game, like, the 3rd CC is supposed to win. Supposed to, not always. Clem might be a little more on guard about that. I mean, it's hard to say what he'll really do. I mean, maybe you just leave the probe on the other side of the map. But unlikely for an attempt to 2nd, 3rd CC super fast. This one would also be a little easier to scout because the only option for a 3rd base is a triangle, so it's not as weird to kind of dip towards the south a little bit with like an adept or something and actually see what's going on here. So Byun most likely not doing the same build, and so far he is not. Definitely not. No Marauder opener. For Clem, it does seem like he throws out that 60 probe, 3 base Zealot attack often. Because the more I'm thinking about it, the more that I do feel like it was Clem's Protoss on this map attacking into not Byun's 3rd CC, but maybe... What are the Terrans playing this? Maybe Percival? It might have been Percival, actually. So far, it's a Twilight Council for Clem. Blink, no doubt, the opener. They're double Reaper, double Hellion for Byun. Not quite going to get the Adept here, but it's going to be paired up with the 2nd Adept, and it's going to try again. I mean, does Byun want to actually repair that Hellion? I feel like, yeah, it's a good choice. The 2 Adepts, I don't know how much they really want to continue trying to tango with this, especially because time has been given to get the 2nd Hellion, to get this Hellion repaired. In fact, a 3rd Hellion is on the way. So Byun doing a little more on the opener than he did versus Mana earlier, as he's also adding a Liberator, not a Medevac. 1 Reaper was taken down there. The 2nd Reaper is obviously the target, as the Adept does not shade away. Trading 2 Adepts for 2 Reapers. I do wonder if that was worth it. I mean, for Clem, it seemed 100% a decision to say that was worth it, because he didn't shade away. Although shading away also probably kills the Adept anyway, so that might have been more more the point. But, I mean, he shaded it into first place. He could have kept those 2 Adepts at home. He could have waited for the attack, had those 2 extra units. Instead, he traded. It was very unlikely, I suppose, a 3rd Hellion was going to be out, but it actually was. And now this puts the Hellions into 1 shot on the probe potential, but a shield battery is made by Clem, so... And it's not a map in which it is difficult to guard your natural. It's not like a super large natural. Liberator going to the main, Hellion going to the natural. See if this finds any damage. Clem with a little bit of a scout / protection for the probe. Sees that it is 3 Hellions if he hadn't before. It's a little scarier. Not so scary that he actually cares, apparently. The Hellions going to try and dip in, but one already gone down. The shield battery was there. Will take care of the Hellions. No problem. So shield battery barely handled the probes over there on the far left, too. And the Liberator, well, it does look like Clem was anticipating some form of aggression in the main. Didn't quite have his Stalkers in position. Will still take care of this pretty darn quickly. And right now, it's more about how quick he does it to the, instead of how many probes were killed. Because 3 is okay for a Liberator, but then the Hellions and the Reapers also died. I mean, I say 3 is okay for a Liberator. Not really. Anyway, it's about Clem's attack. Clem 3 Gate is getting a Nexus, yes. He wants to be able to focus on his own aggression. He will find a return damage and a little then some force if he's go down, loses a Stalker for it. He does get to focus entirely on his build once again. No amount of harassment from here on out, thanks to those units down being taken care of. It's all about the tank production, bio production, getting a sim, getting combat shields. This is where Clem can really start to form his army, which is going to be Colossus. Not going to go in a storm. 4 Stalkers still trying to find that damage and not realize that there are going to be 2 tanks there. A little attempt to bypass the tank doesn't work out. It's funny too. Now I changed my Discord settings because of all the spam that was happening, so that you now have to give a reason for joining the Discord, and it is amazing how effective it is. Because bots don't know what to do when they are asked that question, so all they type is true because they're a bot. All in all, I'm liking Clem's position. I mean, it's not that Byun has taken extreme damage or that his opener was dedicated and it hasn't done a lot, but losing all forms of harassment without finding that much probe damage, then losing some SCVs on his own. And this is Clem getting a lot of time to build into his preferred style of TVP, which is very strong. Do I think Clem's better Protoss than Byun's Terran? I guess I kind of do. I guess I do. I feel like once you've kind of gotten some of the things... Whoa, okay, that was yeah, once again losing Stalkers to an unexpected amount of tanks. Anyways, once you've kind of hammered out some of the kinks in your Protoss, the losing to some stupid early all-ins, the... Oh, I didn't realize the Observer went there instead of there. You know, the little things, and then you have Clem, who's going to have amazing mechanics, so on and so forth. I feel like being a Terran at heart, 1, works out really well with what Protoss is right now anyway. The way you would play Protoss versus Terran actually feels more like a Terran. And then 2, I think you just know so much about what the Terran is going to find uncomfortable, what the Terran's really going to be aggravated by. I think he can really abuse that, so I think that makes Clem one of the most dangerous Protosses alongside Max Pax. And he's going to go for the throat. No hesitation. Clem just runs in with Zealots, takes care of the tanks. Bio already dwindled in number. 2 Colossus getting distracted by a Widowmine. That's not helpful, but apparently not necessary. Then already lost. Clem. Laser focused. GG wins. Almost looked easy. Series now tied 1-1. Top left, we do have Clem. Bottom right, it is Byun. Ruby Rock is the final battle for this best of 3. Nothing too interesting about this map, I think. Yeah, it's one of those lame ones. That's okay. I guess we need some normal maps. I guess fine. Oh boy, the Game Awards have announced their choices for Game of the Year. There's been a lot of discussion about it because people have taken to camps. If you're Camp Silksong, you hate Camp Clair Obscure. If you're Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, your camp is small but feisty. And you really don't like that you're like the hipster choice. It just seems like a lot of people are worried about the Game of the Year. I'm not so much worried. I do think Expedition 33 deserves it for a lot of reasons, including but not limited to the game itself. But then I have to acknowledge that I have not played Silksong, Death Stranding 2, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, Donkey Kong Bonanza, or Hades 2. A lot of sequels in that, Jesus. So, you know, I shouldn't be so passionate about it. But a certain part of me will call bullshit if Expedition 33 does not win. Expedition 33, by the way, not up for the game soundtrack of the year. Like, was it the Grammys or was it something else? I think it was the Grammys. So I think it's like part of like the Oscars or something. There's I forget all the fucking award shows. Who knows? But they weren't for one, and I did find that a bit upsetting. There's one thing that it should absolutely always be at least nominated, if it did not win. It will be the soundtrack. Sorry to say that StarCraft 2 has not been nominated for anything. Ever. Not ever, of course, but it's been a long time since it released, so no one's talking about it. Womp womp. Their factory expand for Byun, but this time a very different opener instead of to the Reapers and the Hellions, which did not find any success in the last game. Excuse me. He has gone into a Cyclone. This Cyclone will bully away the Adepts, no problem. The Adepts, to a certain extent, have gotten what they wanted. Of course, trading out that pair of Adepts for just a pair of Marines and a Reaper. Not ideal, but I said it got what it wanted, and by that I meant they killed the SCV. They did delay the command center. In fact, the Cyclone shows up and kind of ruins their plans of potential escape. It happens. There's a shield battery. If there was not a shield battery, that Stalker is in a lot of trouble. But with a shield battery and a second warp in available, that Cyclone isn't going to find very much more. You kind of have to try anyway. Obviously, the Cyclone shouldn't get a lot of damage done. 1 gateway so far, 2 gateways on the way. That's 3 gates in total, with the Robo on the way as well. Could have some aggression from Clem, but it is going to be heading into a very different setup for Byun. Again, not the Reaper Hellion, rather a Cyclone, a good amount of Marines too, and most importantly, the Banshee. Getting Cloak, by the way. We had that period of time where it seemed like Hyperflight Rotors might take over, or at least be as valid as an option. I feel like that's fallen away. Again, I appreciate the idea of having a choice. I didn't think it did anything different. Its effectiveness was around the same as a Cloak Banshee, which was basically like 50% of the time, it was kind of surprising just being a Banshee in general, and it did a lot of damage, and then 50% of the time, it was nothing. And that was, again, with the Cloak or with Hyperflight Rotors. It felt like the same situation, the same amount of times. In this case, this Cloak Banshee is going to be not particularly successful. If it does end up running away, that would actually be quite good. There's a lot of dead space, but maybe not that much dead space in the backside. At least it's alive. A couple of probes, Not what it wants. Wants a little more than that, but what it really wants to be is alive and distracting. Especially if Byun is planning a forward attack. A third Banshee is on the way. That kind of hints more towards just like straight up firepower. They want to go for an engagement. I know the Stalkers will see this as the Observer was a little out of place. But the Stalkers will see the moving tank Banshee army. Byun might be committed to this. I mean, he's definitely going to go for the push. Clem just needs to slow it down. Thing is, if this does end up getting picked away at too much, or it takes too long to finally, you know, for instance, hit the third Nexus, it might give up. And with Clem going for 3 gateways instead of just 2, he does have the means to make quite a fearsome army himself, just give him a little bit of time. So this is the decision now you have to make. You know, Byun spent a lot of time trying to cross the map. That's given a Stalker count a raise. It's given the Immortal time to pop out. Shield available on the force field available on the Sentry too. Observer is here. That scan ahead reveals 1 Observer. Now the second Observer dies, and then now the first one dies too. Did eventually focus fire that down. Force fields will buy that time, but the 2 Observers going down was not on Clem's plan. The cloaked Banshees now working wonderfully. 7 probes go down, but in just all that chaos. Not going to try their luck and start targeting some of these units because an Observer is certainly on the way, and there is a 3rd Observer, now even a 4th Observer because that Observer even gets scanned. Not killed, however. And now the Marines are goners. No, not quite. Not going to reach after it. 2 Banshees into the main base. Clem has to take care of that. Stalkers are warped in. No Observer, however, so both Banshees escape again. And this has been successful. Byun should be looking to move away at this point. The Observer sees the retreat. 1 tank was left behind just to delay the retreat that little much. Given time for Byun to get on the high ground, get his tanks re-sieged, and at least trade out. Which this trade will not be bad at all, I think. Byun does have some reinforcements back at home. I'm a little concerned because that was all of his tanks. But I think that is a good amount of bio. Stim's almost on. +1 is on the way. Clem did have to give away a lot of Stalkers chasing after that army. 11 have gone down. Also 18 probes in total. So yes, that was good enough. Banshees are dead now, so the probes will stop dying too. But so many had to be rebuilt. Clem just kind of keeping afloat on the saturation because he's rebuilding 3 at a time continuously. So where does that actually end it? I mean, Byun did all that damage. It looked spectacular, and I think it was quite good. I think he should be feeling good about that move out overall. Was it game ending despite all the chaos? I don't think it actually was. It was chaotic. Probes died. The Banshees were not dealt with as they should have been. Both Observers dying really was not the plan. But I think overall it still did the trick. Byun looking to get aggressive. I'd be a little surprised to see Clem ready to go as well. But Clem is a little bit of a front. His army not actually as good as the bio now at critical mass with Widow Mines, with Medivacs, with +1 attack. He doesn't want to take a straight up fight and say, okay, that's it. Win or lose right here. Needs to poke, needs to prod, needs to distract. Needs to buy some time for this Colossus, which it will definitely be out. 1 Colossus, no extant thermal lance though. Can't rely on that 100%. Third CC is being taken now by Byun. It did only just finish, so no orbital as of yet. Clem's starting to dot the map with scouting units. Scouting pylons. How many Observers does he have? They've all been cleared out. Wow, 5 Observers have died in this game. So the Banshees might have been F2'd or something as to why they died, because they were tucked in the back. Anyway, more important, there is a little blitz here from Byun. Tries to go up that ramp. What am I going to take out the Sentry? That Guardian Shield would have been very helpful. The Zealots are now almost all gone. The Stalkers just hoping that they buy time. Certainly don't want to take on the army, but with all the army cleared out and running this way and that, Byun takes the opportunity, also unscouted, no Observers, to pick up 3 Medivacs. Now, that is scouted by a probe. Very nicely done by Clem, but can he get enough reinforcements into the main base? Some Stalkers being warped in. Colossus now responding as well. especially with the Colossus. That should be good enough. Oh my god, Byun actually goes back in. The fake into the actual committal does get a good line, good concave, and the attack on the front also trying to distract, but Clem, 2 Colossus seems to be the perfect answer into the main base. That will take care of it, although it will not protect that forge. Good snipe there from Byun. Goes after a couple more stalkers to guarantee the safety of the 2 medevacs, and that will be good, but not amazing. Not amazing. That was the second forge, so Clem will not be upgradeless. Byun will hold on to a good lead, however. But 2 Colossus still alive, 2 Immortals still alive. Byun now falls a little behind in the overall supply, as he's down a little bit in the worker count. A little bit. No 4th CC. He only just got his 3rd up and running. Supply blocked as well. Woof, that is quite the supply block. 54 SCVs to 82 probes. My god. Clem actually overprobed. He doesn't really need that many of that right now. Well, he will be getting a 5th base soon. And there it is. And he will not have to make more probes for it. He'll just transfer. That is very disturbing. That is, Despite all the probe losses earlier on, and despite Byun trying to keep up the aggression, I mean, he was not passive. Clem has skyrocketed ahead on the income. And Byun just seems like he's trying to catch up. A couple engineering bays being placed just for a little SimCity. It looks like he acknowledges that he's in trouble. We're building SimCity and really setting up a defensive posture. Unless that's the armory. Oh no, that's not SimCity. I thought those are double engineering bays. That is the actual second engineering bay and armory. That is legitimate. Those are buildings he wants. All right, well, that is a big bio army. Clem will not win it straight up. He'll take his battle and then run away if he can. That is a very weakened, overstimmed army. Medevac's not quite healing it, but they are going to gun down every last Colossus that was on the front line. This one just going to try and run away. Byun sees the opportunity to take down Colossus, and he is not going to give that up. That is a lot of Marauders left over, although they are injured. 1 Colossus, though. If he had 2, I'd give a chance to Clem to hold on to this 5th base, but even then, there's still 6 Vikings. Now, 10 Vikings in the sky, good lord. That is definitely going to be enough. Colossus will not cut it. Byun stims again, runs forward. He sees a ground army, a gateway army, and wants to tackle it. The Zealots, I don't know if they're going to be enough, especially if they do not get us around, and they are not getting us around. Scanner reveals the Dark Templar. Clem, he's dead. He is 100% dead. He pokes the bear, and the bear just mauls him to death. Live on camera.